Once upon a time, there lived a man named Andrew. Andrew was a police officer, dedicated to his job and his community. But his heart was heavy. He had just ended a 2-year relationship with his girlfriend, and the pain was unbearable. One evening after work, Andrew decided to go to a bar. He hoped that a few drinks might help him forget his sadness, even if just for a little while. The bar was noisy, filled with people laughing and talking, but Andrew felt alone. He drank more than he should have, and when the bartender announced last call, Andrew knew he had to leave. He stepped out into the cool night air and started to walk home, his mind filled with dark thoughts. He felt hopeless and even considered ending his own life. As Andrew walked, he heard a faint, pitiful cry. He stopped and listened. The sound was coming from a nearby trash bin. His police instincts kicked in, and he approached the bin carefully. When he looked inside, he was shocked to see a tiny baby girl, no more than a month old, crying and shivering. Without hesitation, Andrew gently picked her up. She stopped crying and looked up at him with wide, trusting eyes. He quickly called for an ambulance. As he waited, he held the baby close, feeling an unexpected connection with her. The ambulance arrived, and the paramedics took the baby to the hospital. Andrew followed, staying by her side as doctors checked her over. The doctors told him that the baby was healthy but had been abandoned. They praised Andrew for finding her and said they would place her in a good orphanage. At first, Andrew agreed. He thought it was the best thing to do. But when he got home, he couldn't stop thinking about the baby. Her tiny face and big eyes stayed in his mind. He began to feel a strong urge to protect her. Could he really let her go? Over the next few days, Andrew visited the baby at the hospital. He brought small gifts and spent hours holding her. Each visit made his feelings stronger. He realized that despite his own pain, he had found a new purpose in caring for her. One evening, as he was about to visit the hospital again, he made a decision. He called the hospital and told them he wanted to adopt the baby. The staff was surprised but happy and began the necessary paperwork. A few weeks later, the adoption was finalized, and Andrew brought the baby girl home. He named her Hope because she had given him a reason to live again. His apartment, once filled with sadness, now echoed with her laughter and cries. Andrew learned how to care for Hope, facing the challenges of fatherhood with determination and love. Each day he grew more confident, and their bond grew stronger. A month had passed since Andrew adopted Hope, and they had begun to settle into a routine. Then one day, Andrew's ex-girlfriend Sarah came back. She knocked on his door, her eyes filled with regret. "I'm sorry," she said, "I made a mistake. Can we try again?" Andrew, still in love with Sarah, forgave her. He was happy to have someone to help him take care of Hope. At first, things seemed to go well. Sarah moved in, and they worked together to care for the baby. Hope brought joy to their lives, and for a while, Andrew felt like his life was finally coming together. But as the weeks went by, Sarah began to show signs of frustration. She seemed distant and irritable, often leaving Andrew to handle most of Hope's needs. One day, Andrew came home from work and found Hope crying in her crib, alone. Sarah was nowhere to be found. Worried, he called her. "Where are you?" he asked. "I'm out," Sarah replied, her voice cold. "I can't do this anymore, Andrew. I'm tired of taking care of a baby that's not mine. You need to choose between me and Hope. If you want me to stay, you'll have to take her to an orphanage." Andrew's heart sank. "No," he said firmly, "I can't abandon Hope. She's my daughter now." "Then it's over," Sarah said, her voice final. "I'm done." Sarah's words echoed in Andrew's mind as he hung up the phone. He looked at Hope, still crying in her crib, and knew he had made the right choice. He picked her up and held her close, whispering, "It's just you and me now, Hope. We'll be okay." Over the next few days, Andrew adjusted to life without Sarah. He focused on his job and taking care of Hope, determined to provide her with all the love and care she needed. His colleagues at the police station noticed a change in him. admiring his strength and dedication. A year passed, and Andrew felt ready to find love again. He met several women, but as soon as they found out he was a single dad, they rejected him. After many disappointments, Andrew decided to stop looking for a new girlfriend. Instead, he focused on himself and Hope, determined to give her the best life possible. At the police station, Andrew's hard work paid off. He was promoted, and his colleagues celebrated his achievement. A month after his promotion, a notorious criminal was arrested, and Andrew was assigned to the case. One day, while Andrew was at work, a wealthy man visited him. The man, father of the arrested criminal, offered Andrew a huge sum of money to drop the case. Andrew was shocked, but firmly rejected the bribe. The wealthy man, furious, called Andrew's boss. Soon after, Andrew was summoned to the boss's office. Andrew's boss looked at him with a mix of disappointment and frustration. "Andrew," he began, "do you know how I made my money? Through bribery. How much does the government pay us? It's nothing compared to what you were offered." Andrew stood tall, his voice steady. "I'm a good Christian," he replied. "I won't take a bribe. The criminal must go to court." His boss shook his head. "You're making a big mistake. Think about your future, your daughter." But Andrew was determined. "My future and my daughter's future are worth more than any bribe. I won't compromise my integrity." Andrew's refusal to take the bribe created tension at work. Some colleagues admired his courage, while others, influenced by the boss, distanced themselves from him. Despite the pressure, Andrew remained firm in his decision. The case went to court, and the notorious criminal was convicted. Andrew's honesty and dedication were recognized, and he became a symbol of integrity within the police force. After the notorious criminal was sent to jail, Andrew thought the worst was over. But the criminal's wealthy father was furious. He didn't like that Andrew had refused to take money from him. So, the father made a plan with Andrew's boss and some bad police officers. One afternoon, while at work, Andrew was called to his boss's office. He felt nervous, like something bad was going to happen. "Andrew," his boss said, looking uncomfortable, "I'm sorry, but we have to fire you." Andrew was shocked. "But why?" he asked, confused. "I didn't do anything wrong." His boss wouldn't look at him. "There are accusations," he said. "I can't protect you anymore." Feeling hurt and helpless, Andrew packed up quietly. Tears filled his eyes as he thought about Hope. How would he explain losing his job to her, and how would he take care of them now? Andrew searched desperately for another job after losing his position at the police department. He applied everywhere, even for cleaning jobs, but no one hired him. When his savings ran out, he started begging outside a very busy supermarket. One day a woman approached him. She was well-dressed and had a kind smile. "Hey there, why are you doing this?" she asked gently. Andrew, feeling defeated but needing to share his story, told her about his life and how he was now a single father. The woman listened with empathy, especially moved by Andrew's dedication to his daughter. She handed him her phone number and business card, urging him to call or visit her office the next day. The next day, Andrew contacted the woman, named Mrs. Natasha. She offered him a job as her personal bodyguard. It came with a good salary and benefits, which allowed Andrew to enroll Hope in a better school and provide for their needs comfortably. Life began to look up for Andrew and Hope. He was grateful for the opportunity Mrs. Natasha had given him, and he worked diligently to prove himself worthy of her trust. As time passed, Andrew noticed Mrs. Natasha behaving differently around him. She started complimenting him, finding reasons to spend more time with him outside of work. Andrew, mindful of her being a married woman, felt uneasy about her advances. He tried to maintain a professional boundary, focusing on his job and keeping interactions strictly businesslike. Yet, Mrs. Natasha's admiration seemed to grow, causing tension and confusion for Andrew. One day, Andrew and Natasha went out on a business trip. To his surprise, she took him to a hotel room. He was shocked and asked, "Ma'am, what are we doing here?" She told him they were there to meet with some business partners, but Andrew didn't buy it. "I am not comfortable here, madam," he said. Natasha moved closer and asked him to kiss her, confessing that she loved him. Andrew was furious. "No, Mum, I can't do that. You are married," he said. He left the hotel angrily. When he got home, Andrew sat in his living room, his head in his hands. God, what kind of temptation is this? I need this job to take care of my daughter, but I can't agree to have an affair with my boss. She's married. No, I won't do that. The next few days were a struggle for Andrew. Every time he saw Natasha, he remembered their encounter at the hotel. He kept his distance, trying to remain professional while wrestling with his thoughts. Natasha, however, didn't back down. She continued to find ways to be alone with him, her advances becoming more overt. Andrew's anxiety grew, as did his determination to resist her. Natasha called Andrew into her office. She looked at him with a mixture of frustration and longing. "Andrew, why are you avoiding me?" "I'm not avoiding you, Mum. I am just trying to stay professional," he replied. "Don't you see how much I care for you? We could be so happy together." "Mum, I can't do this. You're married, and I have my daughter to think about. I can't betray my values." Natasha's face hardened with rejection. "If you refuse me, Andrew, things might get difficult for you here." Andrew left her office with a broken heart. He knew he couldn't give in, but he also feared losing his job again. Andrew sat in his living room, lost in thought, when his friend John came in. John noticed his troubled expression and asked what was wrong. After a moment's hesitation, Andrew decided to tell him everything about Natasha's advances. John listened, then shook his head. "Guy, why are you like this? You're dulling yourself. Accept her offer and collect money from her. Don't you know how wealthy her husband is?" "How I wish I was in your position," John said excitedly. Andrew was shocked by his friend's reaction. "You must be stupid. How can you say that? She is married and I won't do it." John looked at him with frustration. "So you mean you want your daughter to suffer? Have you forgotten how expensive her school fees are? Think, my dear friend, think. This could solve all your problems. I can't betray my values for money. I won't let Hope see me as a man who compromises his principles for personal gain," Andrew said firmly. John sighed. "You and your high morals. Look, I understand, but life is hard. Sometimes you have to bend the rules to survive. Natasha's offer could make your life so much easier." Andrew shook his head. "I appreciate your concern, John, but I can't do it. I'd rather struggle with a clear conscience than live with regret." "Well, it's your choice," John said. "Just remember, opportunities like this don't come often. Don't let your stubbornness be the reason your daughter misses out on a better life." After John left, Andrew sat alone, wrestling with his thoughts. His friend's words echoed in his mind, but his heart told him he was making the right decision. He couldn't compromise his integrity, even if it meant facing financial difficulties. That night, as Andrew tucked Hope into bed, she looked up at him with her innocent eyes. "Daddy, are you okay?" she asked. Andrew smiled, feeling a surge of love for his daughter. "Yes, Hope, everything will be fine. We're going to get through this together." The next day, Andrew made up his mind to resign. He had called Natasha, but she didn't pick up. So he decided to go to the office. When he got there, he was shocked to see Natasha's husband, Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick greeted him warmly and began to explain. "Andrew, my family and I are relocating abroad. My wife has told me so many things about you. She spoke highly of your loyalty and integrity. So I came up with a plan to test your loyalty." Andrew was stunned. "No, sir, that was too extreme," he said, his voice breaking. "What if I had given in?" Mr. Patrick looked at him with genuine regret. "I am truly sorry, Andrew. It was a harsh test, but it showed me that you are a man of great integrity." With that, Mr. Patrick handed over a set of documents to Andrew. "I am handing over my company to you. I need someone I can trust to run it while we are away." Andrew couldn't believe his eyes. Tears welled up as he realized the magnitude of what had just happened. "Thank you, sir," he said, overwhelmed with emotion. He ran home, excitement bubbling inside him. Sitting with Hope, he hugged her tightly. "Baby, Daddy is now a millionaire. We are leaving this neighborhood soon." Hope looked at him with wide eyes. "Really, Daddy?" Andrew nodded. "Yes, my dear. Everything is going to change for the better." That night, Andrew and Hope talked about their future. He promised her that their new life would be filled with happiness and opportunities. 10 years had passed, and Andrew was now doing well. Despite his success, he had not yet married. He had been in relationships with different women, but none took Hope as their own daughter. One evening, when Andrew came back from work, Hope, who was now 11 years old, approached him with a serious expression. "Daddy, can I ask you something?" Hope said. Andrew smiled at her. "Of course, sweetheart. What is it?" "Why don't I have a mummy?" Hope's question hung in the air, her eyes searching Andrew's face for answers. Andrew felt sad. He had always avoided talking about Hope's mummy, wanting to protect her from feeling too sad. Taking a deep breath, he chose his words carefully. "Sweetheart, your mummy passed away when you were very young," he said gently. Sadness clouded Hope's eyes, and she started crying. Andrew hugged Hope tightly, comforting her. "I know, sweetheart. But please know, she loved you very much. Daddy, why don't you find me another mummy, so she can give us a baby? I need a brother or sister, Daddy, please." Andrew's heart ached at her words. He had always dreamed of giving Hope a complete family, but finding someone who could love them both had been difficult. "I promise I'll do my best, Hope." That night, Andrew lay awake, thinking about his daughter's longing for a mother. He knew he needed to find someone who would love and care for them like family. At school, Hope friends would occasionally ask about her mother, noticing her absence during pickup times, wondering why she wasn't there to pick her up. Hope didn't know how to explain, so she often avoided their questions. In order to alleviate Hope's loneliness at home, Andrew hired a housekeeper to be around for her, hoping she wouldn't feel the absence of her mother as much. Within a few days of Julia joining their household, Hope grew fond of her, which brought immense joy to Andrew. He felt relieved knowing that Hope might stop asking about her mother, now that she had Julia around. A few months later, Andrew's girlfriend, Sarah, who had been previously married, came to his house seeking refuge. She explained that she had left her husband because he had been abusive towards her for not being able to conceive since they got married. Sarah apologized to Andrew for everything she had done wrong and expressed that she had nowhere else to go. Andrew, feeling sorry for Sarah, allowed her to stay at his house for a month, but made it clear that their relationship was over and they couldn't be together. Sarah accepted his decision graciously, thanking him for letting her stay despite everything that had happened. A week passed with Sarah staying at Andrew's house. Despite Andrew making it clear that their relationship was over, Sarah tried to win him back. She cooked his favorite meals, gave him constant compliments, and acted overly affectionate, hoping to reignite their romance. However, Andrew remained firm and unaffected by her efforts. One evening, after Andrew returned from work, Hope approached him with a serious expression. She told him she didn't like Sarah. Surprised, Andrew asked why. Hope explained that Sarah didn't treat Julia nicely, often scolding her and making her do all the work alone. The next day, Andrew decided to confront Sarah about it. He mentioned Hope's concerns, asking why she was treating Julia poorly. Sarah quickly claimed she had caught Julia stealing meat from the pot the day before. Feeling conflicted because he trusted Julia, Andrew found it hard to believe she would steal. Sarah suggested he keep a closer eye on Julia, trying to sound innocent. That evening, Andrew watched Julia closely while Sarah was in the kitchen. He saw Julia working diligently, showing no signs of wrongdoing. This confirmed his suspicion that Sarah might be lying to manipulate the situation. As days passed, Andrew grew increasingly uncomfortable with Sarah's presence in his home. A few days later, Andrew came home very excited in the afternoon. He asked about Hope and the housekeeper, and Sarah told him they had gone out for a walk. Sarah then asked Andrew why he was so happy. Andrew explained that he had just secured a huge contract worth millions of dollars. Sarah congratulated him warmly. Out of excitement, Andrew brought out a bottle of wine to celebrate, and they drank together. The mood was light, and they chatted about various things. As the evening wore on, Andrew felt more relaxed than he had in a long time. The next morning, Andrew woke up with a heavy head, finding himself in Sarah's room. He was shocked and confused. He sat up quickly, trying to piece together the events of the previous night. How had he ended up here? He felt a wave of panic and regret. Sarah woke up beside him, smiling slyly. She looked pleased with herself, but Andrew felt nothing but discomfort and guilt. He hurriedly got dressed and left the room, his mind racing. Back in his own room, he tried to recall the details of the previous night. He remembered the wine, the celebration, but everything after that was a blur. He felt betrayed by his own lack of control. Andrew knew he needed to address this situation before it spiraled further. Later that day, when Sarah tried to approach him, Andrew kept his distance. A month later, Andrew decided it was time for Sarah to leave. Her presence was causing too much tension in the house. He then told Sarah she needed to go. "I can't," Sarah said calmly. "Why not?" Andrew asked, frustrated. "I am 2 weeks pregnant." Andrew was surprised, his mouth open in shock. He remembered the night they celebrated his big contract, the wine, and waking up in her room. He couldn't believe this was happening. Dear viewers, do you think Andrew will allow Sarah to keep the pregnancy? Stay tuned to find out. Subscribe, like, share, and turn on notifications to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.